this is Colleen from Keeping the Peace, Defensive Handgun Training for Women, and today we will be talking about range etiquette and what you might need in your range bag when you go for the first time. This is episode 10 of the Preparing the New Shooter series. First, let's talk about range etiquette. Very basic range etiquette. First thing to keep in mind is make sure that you're always following your 4 firearm safety rules that we discussed in episode 1. A lot of times people get very lax with their muzzle discipline when they're in a range. So just be extremely mindful of making sure your muzzle is either downrange or in a stool position, which is diagonally forward of your feet. It is never acceptable to point your muzzle sideways and certainly not back range. The biggest time that I see this is when people come into the range with their gear. They tend to lay it along the back wall, get the guns out of the cases, and then bring them up to the table, sweeping the muzzle past everything that's on that side. So please don't do that. If you have your guns in a case, bring your case to the table, open it up to see which way your muzzle's pointing, orient your muzzle downrange while it's still in the case, then remove the gun from the case. Also, if you're working from a holster, be sure that you come out of the holster with the muzzle going directly downrange. Don't point it toward the side. So just be mindful of your muzzle. And of course, be mindful of your trigger finger. Treat the gun like it's loaded. All that sort of thing, okay? If you need a review over the safety rules, feel free to go back and watch episode 1 of this same series. Okay, how to stock your range bag. I'm going to tell you how I stock mine. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a prescription for you, but the things that I bring might turn out to be things that might be helpful for you. I like to be over-prepared rather than under-prepared, because when I'm going to spend money on range time, money on ammo, I don't want to get there and wish that I had something that could make my training experience more valuable to me. Okay? First thing is a good set of Ear Pro. I happen to use Peltors. They're great. They magnify voice, but they, of course, diminish the sound of the shooting. I wear prescription glasses, so I'm not able to choose just any eyewear. I have to wear something that can go over top. I tried for several years doing prescription safety glasses, and they never worked well for me. So I just keep my regular glasses on, and if need be, just throw these right on top, and that works great. You can get these in different colors. They're made in the USA. Cocoons is the brand, C-O-C-O-O-N-S. Reasonably priced, well made. I keep bandanas on my range bag. I like to use those on the tabletop of the range just because that's a personal preference. So that's something that I like. You don't necessarily have to do that. Okay, in the little side compartment here I've got pasters. Pasters greatly extend the life of your targets. You can do a lot of training on one target, and I do encourage pasting in between magazines or in between training exercises so that you don't end up with a target full of holes that you can't even determine which ones you just shot, because that's really not beneficial to you. So pasters are a great idea. To go along with pasters, it's a great idea to mark your targets as you train. I keep Sharpies of all different colors because if I'm going to shoot, say, 5 or 6 different sets on one target, I can label each set in a different color, be able to track my progress. It's also good to mark yardage, what type of ammo you're using, which gun you're shooting if you want to compare targets later on, so it's always handy to do that. Okay, in this back compartment, I keep training cards. On one side is safety, on the other side is marksmanship. I use those with students. I keep shoot and see targets. I like to use these to provide a clear and fun aim point for new students, and they're just fun to shoot. This little compartment here has more shoot and sees. It has ink pens, screwdrivers if I need to do anything to the gun, an emery board if I get a big broken fingernail, which tends to happen when you're dealing with guns. You tend to break fingernails. Rubber bands to put around targets for students when they want to take them home. You might like that if you want to take your targets home with you. Okay. Shoestring. I keep the shoestring there because I take my own targets with me. Shoestring ties the targets that I plan to use while I'm there. Then, of course, I come home empty-handed, and I just tie my shoestring on the handle. That's all that's there. Snap caps. I always keep snap caps with me, both for myself and for students. It's a great idea if you find yourself not spot on while you're practicing to stop and do a snap cap drill or stop and do some type of dry drill. Very simple gunshot wound kit. It's basically got rubber gloves, a tourniquet, some compresses, some quick clot, just ace bandage, just really basic, very basic stuff. If I'm teaching a class with a lot of people, I take a much bigger kit, but this is just when it's just me and maybe one other person. Stapler. Most ranges, if you staple the targets at your range, they will provide one for you, but I have found that it's beneficial if you have your own, because if you run out of staples, you don't have to spend your rented range time running back and forth to get more staples, or if the stapler quits working, blah, blah, blah. You've got your own. It's just nice to be over-prepared rather than under. Ammo for whatever caliber you're going to be training with. Receipt book, you don't need that probably. That's for if a cash-paying student wants a receipt. I have that. Front pocket here, I have hard candy because when I teach for hours at a time, my throat gets dry. A punch card for the range. That's how our range works. You punch to use for a half an hour. My gunsmith's business card. If you need a good gunsmith, let me know if you're in my area. Sunscreen for outdoor classes. Extra magazines for my main carry piece, because when I'm carrying to the range, I don't necessarily want to take the time to unload all of my hollow points out of my mags. So I just keep the number of mags I carry in my range bag as alternates. I also, about every, 3 to 4 weeks or so, will trade these out. So these will become the hollow point mags and the other 3 will become the training mags to keep them rotated. Post-it notes, because you never know when you might need to write a note. Business cards for you never know, you might need to give a business card. These little containers, this is more hard candy if I run out in the front pocket. Band-aids, just in case, you never know. A pair of earplugs, just in case my Peltors for some reason were to quit working. That's all in there. And over here, random 22s. And batteries for the Peltors. And all of that stuff was crammed in my bag. So this is what I would take with me. Typically I would have this, the gun that I'm wearing, 1 or 2 depending on how many I'm wearing that day, and then whatever guns I'm going to train with. Like if I just want to shoot something for fun, I might have my Ruger Mark III. Or if I want to shoot a rifle, I might bring a rifle. Or maybe I want to shoot several different handguns and I have a stack of them. So I'll have my bag, I'll have my roll of whatever targets I've chosen for the exercises I've planned, and then whatever guns I choose to use. So that's what I take the range. All of this stuff I use. This, thankfully, I haven't had to use. But I'd rather have it and not need it rather than need it and not have it. If you're a female, you may want to think about wearing a high neck shirt so you don't get brass down there. You may want to think about tying your hair back to get it out of the way. You also may want to think about a ball cap to deflect brass and keep it from wanting to go down your shirt, because it will. That's just the way it works. So that's basic range etiquette and basic information about how to stock your range bag. Thank you for joining me for the Preparing the New Shooter series. I look forward to seeing you in other series that I have coming up soon. The first one I'll be starting is Gun Terminology for Dummies. So we'll be talking a lot about acronyms and just terms that you hear in the gun world that might be foreign if you're a new shooter or new to the shooting community. So I'm hoping to bring those terms down to earth and make them applicable for you so that you can use them as you converse about your gun and about shooting. Thanks for joining me again, and God bless you. Bye.